Hi, I'm going to give you a little bit of a tutorial, mini tutorial on creating data record sheets, results sheets, whatever you want to call them for students, so that you can quickly get at a glance, get an idea of which students are having issues with which type of thing. So this is this is an example that we're going to build. These might be particular days, or they could be dates, or they could be particular assessments that you've undertaken with somebody. So I've got a nice little average going on. These are all color coded, so you can see which students are having issues. You can also see the overall, and I've got a nice little graph here of these these little bits of data, so you can see at a glance really how people are doing. I've also set it up so that when this is a bigger, when you've got more assessments going on, it scrolls nicely, and when you've got more students, it scrolls this way, so you can keep the headings all in place. So I'll show you how to do that as well. This video will take about, it's about a 15 minute video. And hopefully you'll pick up a few other little tips and tricks on Excel as we go. So let's start with something a little bit more basic. I've got some student names. One of the things you can do with Excel is, I had Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, is that you can use this little square here. You can move over it and drag across, and that will give you the new headings without you having to do very much. This feature is quite useful for all kinds of things. You can do it with months. You can drag the months across. You could also drag them down. If you did it in full January, it would put the full version. You can do quarters. So if you're doing quarters, you highlight the 2, so you can show the pattern, and then you go across and you'll see it gives me quarters. So it's worth playing around with that. It's quite good at creating little sequences for you. The next thing, another little trick for you, is I'm going to change these all. So I've just highlighted, this is the area I'm going to put the data in. I'm going to change all of these to have percentages. So the percentage key is here. So I'm just going to click on that one. The reason I'm doing it in advance is it saves you having to type decimal numbers for percentages like 0.67. Here I can just do 67 instead to give me my percentages. So it's much quicker. You haven't got to think about decimal numbers. So you'd fill out all the details like that. I'm just going to flip to another screen where I've put all that data in already, so that we can make it quicker for ourselves. So I've got some data. I'm going to highlight this area again, and I'm just going to now I'm going to go to format as a table. Let me show you where that is. That's here. I'm just going to click on that one and choose a nice looking color scheme. Let's go for this garish one here. It's just asking me which area it is that it's where the table is. And you can see the nice little marching ants that are walking around to show me what the area looks like. I have headers on this, so I want that one ticked. So something's in the way there. Here we go. I want it ticked because I have these headers here, so I wanted to use those. So there we go. We've got some nice little formatting already. I don't particularly like that one, so let's try a different one. Okay, that's no, it's not going to work. Let's try something a little bit more restrained. Let's try that grey one. No. Right, that one. That looks a little bit better. Okay, so when you highlight it, it becomes a little bit dull. I don't particularly want that. So the first things I'm going to do, I'm just going to play with some of the options for table. So you can see up here, I've got table. I'm going to turn off the filters. We'll come back to those at the end. They're useful, but at the moment they're going to get in the way. I've got a first column, so I've just ticked that, so it's made those a little bit bolder for me. If you want to do columns and not rows, you just change over, and it will change over those. So we're starting to look reasonable. And now what I want to do is I want to make these so that they show me a little bit more about what the level of these particular students are. So I'm going to use conditional formatting, which is up here. And this has a couple of different things that you can put in. So you could use data bars. Not my favorite, but yeah, I'm going to get rid of those. I don't like them. I think they're okay in small doses. So I'm just using clear rules to get rid of those. So you've got data bars. I'll skip one. We'll come back to that one. Icon sets. You can put traffic lights. I'm going to use this one here, which basically has green as the top value. Just one thing to note: it's what it's doing is it's looking at the highest values that you've got in here. So if you didn't use percentages, it will kind of scale it accordingly and split it into a sort of smooth range of colors. So if all your results are very low, then you'll get greens for the top ones, even though they're not necessarily good results for people. But it kind of grades the students across that data. So the more, if you've got somebody that's got 100 in this table, it will make it a little bit more attuned to the higher values. If you don't want to use colors because you're going to show it to students and you want to make it a little less judgmental, you could use there are some kind of all green to white colors here that you might be able to use instead. You can also, if you really get clever, you can set your own up. So I've got those. So I click somewhere else, you'll see the result of that. So it's kind of highlighting quite nicely those particular students. And then what I'd like to do now is put in an average. So I'm just going to add another column called average. And you see that because it knows it's a table, it's going to put the formatting in for me already. I haven't had to do any of that. It's just automatically come up. Now I'm going to create an average across this row. So to do that, I'm starting off here. I click on this auto sum. Let's just highlight that one again. It's here. And I'm going to, I don't want to sum, I want to use average instead. And it should take an average across. So again, the marching ants are showing me where that average is. Okay, what it's done as well now is it's worked out that I'm in a table and that I probably want to carry on that all the way down. So I haven't had to do any work to get it to do that. It's just done it for me. Okay, now maybe on these I want to put a different formatting. So I'm going to put some icons. Let's do some green and reds. Again, it will be working across the values that you've got in here. So it kind of will be taking 71 as the top. So it's not, it's kind of doing its own thing. And it'll give you a general guidance, but you have to be a little bit cleverer if you want to get it to be consistent across classes that are doing the same test, for example. The coloring might be a little bit different for different scores. Okay, so we've done that. So the next thing I want to do is I want to add one of those little charts in, just to summarize without having to have bar charts everywhere. They're called Sparklines. So I just added that heading in again, and again, it's formatted for me. Sparklines you can find under Insert, it's up here. And then if you insert, I'll get there in the end, you've got another option here, Sparklines. And then we can pick columns. So let's do that. Now it's asking me what the data is that I want to use. So I'm just going to highlight all of that data. I also don't want the average. And then where do I want to put it? So I just click here and I want to put it, I'm just dragging all the way down there. That's where I want it to go. Say okay. And I've got some little bars. You can change the colors. There's all kinds of other options that you can do. But it doesn't work for me. So I'm going to change it to lines. Maybe different amounts of data, these different things work better. So I'm going to choose lines. I'm also going to choose here. So I just change lines. I'm going to change markers now. I'll tick those so that it gives me a few little data points, and I can play around with the colors of these. There we go. That's giving me some different, very ecological looking bars. So that's quite a useful thing that we set up. Now, the other problem that you have is that when this gets longer, you need to be able to make it scroll properly so that you don't lose these headings or these headings. To do that, you just need to click in the box that's the first one to actually move. So this was the first one that will go underneath. These ones will stay fixed. This one's to stay fixed. And then I go off into, if I can find the right place. No, view, of course, view. So we've got view on the menu. And I'm looking at these ones. Just give me a second. I've just got to undo the work I did before. Unfreeze. There we go. Right, that's better. So now I'm going to use this one here. So I clicked in this area, and I want to use freeze panes to give me top and bottom. If you just want the top, then you want this one. Otherwise, this one and this one will do. Just do the column. But I tend to do both because it just works better. Okay, so let's click on freeze, and then now you'll see the result that it scrolls quite nicely, keeping the names, and it'll scroll this way, keeping these headings. So that's a good improvement. Okay, so one last thing. I'm just going to go back to highlighting that whole table, and then I'm going to click on the table option here. So click on that. And we used filters before. We turned them off before, so let's use them now. So click on those. So you have these little arrows that have appeared. Now what that does is allows you to remove people from what's being seen, but it doesn't take them out of your data. So you can just highlight a couple of people. If you had some problem students or some really good students, you want to just see their results altogether, you can do. So you can just pick out if you knew them by name. So you just click on them. You can see over here that the numbers are not counting consecutively because those ones are hidden, the other people. You can also see it has a little symbol, different symbol here, different symbol to say it's got a filter in place. So if you get a spreadsheet from somebody and it's got these little arrows on, just check to make sure there's no filters in place and that that there's no kind of row number missing. You get that kind of different color of blue effect over here, because sometimes people will send you things with filters in place and they expect the filters to disappear when it's sent by email, but they don't. So to get rid of filters, we need to come back to this little button here, and down the bottom here you have, let me try that again, click on here, and then you have to click on the clear filter at the very bottom, and that will clear those away. Okay, so that's also useful for if, for example, you wanted to look at the people that maybe are of an issue for you. You could go to the average or one of these tests. Let's do it with with that average. So I can pick different things here, but more likely you want to actually do something like this. So there's this choose one here. And I'm going to pick is less than. Now this is where we have a little bit of an issue. This is showing you the ones that you currently have. Now, I suspect if I put in 50 for 50, maybe 50%, no, that doesn't work. I think if I try 50, oh, it does work. Okay, it didn't work for me before. If you find it doesn't work, you might have to resort to typing in the decimal again, doing 0.5. But here I've just done less than 50%, and you can see it's not worked, has it? It's given me everything, so I'm definitely going to have to do the 0.5. 0.5, let's try that. 0.5. Okay, so we have that one. Let's try 0.6, see if we get a few more. And it's because it's got auto apply, it's just showing it to me as I type, so I can keep. I don't need to do anything else. I don't need to click apply. It's just doing it as we go. Okay, so that looks good to me. So I'm just going to leave that. So you can see now it's showing everything. Only those people that have got an average less than 60%. So hopefully that's given you a bit of an idea of what you can do to make quite useful and nice tables. And I'll see you in another video.